Hello, everyone, and welcome to the RTA Season 33 Legend Tournament. My name is Evan, and with me at the virtual desk, it's Topa V. What's up, Topa?
Hello, everyone. I'm super excited tonight. Obabo is in. That is so amazing to see. I can't wait for tonight's matches, Evan.
Oh my god, and with years in between since his last participation in the tournament, this is going to be one to remember, guys. We were talking about this before the stream, but this is the best day of the ranked season. This is the time where we take the top 4 players, we put them in a bracket, make them fight to find out who is the season legend. We got a bunch of best of 5s ahead of us today. We just closed season 33 just about half an hour ago, Topa, and it was a pretty fierce battle for that number 4 slot all the way up to the very end.
Yeah, usually there might be a couple contenders, but this time there were 3 contenders for that rank 4 spot. And, well, actually, Obabo ended up in the rank 3 spot. That's how fierce the competition got, that they've ended up pushing past the rank 3 player. But, it seems like Tars and God XLD were left out of the tournament tonight. But we have a fantastic group of players tonight.
We do, and it sounds like Kellyan Bao, who was our number 1 player, last we heard, he may have to forego participation this season due to personal matters that came up at the last second. We'll keep you posted on all things that we hear about that in the meanwhile, but let me tell you about the overview of the tournament today. Again, this is SWC mode and best of 5 the whole way. We've got semifinals and finals, real clean-cut bracket that's ultimately going to get us the Legend Summoner for Season 33. It is all on the line, guys. The Hall of Fame title, that goes a long way. That is the most exclusive thing you can get. And of course, you also get that building that you can place on your Sky Island. But Topa, there's one more prize that hasn't been here previously. You get that little frame.
Yeah, you get that frame, and the recent update there, it now shows your previous season's ranking when you queue into someone on the ladder. So all throughout next season, everyone is going to know that you won that Legend tournament, that coveted title. And that's just a little bit of extra there, motivation made for the players to do even better tonight.
And that's the coolest thing. That ends up being like the biggest flex possible in Summoner's War now that that's been added in. It's great. I'm so glad that folks in chat could be here to watch today too. Thank you all so much for coming by. I know it's late for wherever you are, or if you're in the future watching the VOD too. Welcome to the RTA Season 33 Legend Tournament. Let's take a look at the participants today. So we've got Tars filling in here. And we got the most picked of the season, representing a pretty strong lineup here. Water Twin Angels, Topa, as well as Shiho.
Yeah, as mentioned earlier, Kellyan Bao did a forego participation, so we have Tars coming in here to play. And yeah, we can see, Water Twin Angels, the Water Monkey, very meta-defining units there. But also the Sonia and the most banned slot. That is going to be one unit to watch out for tonight for sure.
Yeah, she has come up in conversation a lot. We were talking about her before the show as well. So many problems can just be solved by slamming down a Sonia at the end, hence the most banned position. Then we have the returning player Pooh, who's got the most picked, most banned. We got the Mi Ying, who's got his new identity as an anti-crowd control bruiser. He's fantastic, as well as the Twin Angels that have just been meta-defining together.
Yeah, we see another Twin Angel there too. The Fire one started out being super strong as well, but everyone sort of gravitated away from the Fire one and quickly picked up this Wind one. And, heard that Hey Gang, it is definitely a menace. And also the man that at least I'm excited for, Obabo. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. I think it's safe to say that we're all so excited to see Obabo here. You were breaking it down for me before. How many years has it been since we've seen him in a Legend tournament?
Yeah, so Obabo has appeared once before in the Legend tournament, and he won. So he has 100% Legend win rate, and that was season 9, which 14 seasons ago means that it's about 3.5 years ago.
That's so stellar. So he's here to see if he can maintain the 100% win rate. He was streaming all the way up to right before the tournament started. So I'm really excited to see him perform here today. And last but not least, we got Diligent in here with a predominantly LD5 oriented most picked and banned section here.
Yeah, definitely not least with a box like that. That is definitely one formidable opponent. And now that, Kellyan Bao did drop out, he is the highest ranking summoner here tonight. But this is the bracket that we'll be playing here today.
Yeah, and so I know it's kind of hard to make an assessment like this considering we're dealing with the top 4 players for the whole season. But what do you think of these matchups so far? Do you think anybody has a particular advantage over anybody else, Topa, or you feel it's pretty fair?
I mean, it is the best players. I don't think there really is an edge to be had here. But what's interesting here is that, the players didn't probably expect Kellyanne Bao to drop out. So the matchups would have been different. It would have been, number 2 against number 3, which would have been Obabo against Diligent. But now Obabo is thrown against Pooh here instead. So that may have, changed the plans a little bit. And the players might need to adapt on the fly here.
Yeah, unforeseen matchup changes like that could potentially throw a wrench in some strategies, but I imagine most people would probably be relieved to hear that they don't have to play up against Kellyanne Bao. I mean, Kellyanne Bao, he's not even here, and we're talking about him. The man's got such a pedigree when it comes to the Legend Tournament. I mean, he became a household name for people via these Legend Tournaments along the way. So having him out of the tournament this time for unforeseen circumstances is probably a boon for all these folks. So coming up first here, we got our first semifinals match. I want to remind everyone again, SWC mode, best of 5. So we're really going to have a good opportunity for these players to kind of show their stuff here.
Definitely. And we're getting right in that match now with, 2 previous legends. Well, actually, every single player in this Legend Tournament has won the Legend title before. So these are going to be some top tier games, but Diligent against Tars here.
Get excited, folks. Yeah, that's pretty big when you got a whole tournament of legends. And that's fantastic. I actually can't remember the last time that we had that, if that has ever happened before. Diligent, quick to slam down an Oliver, one of the few favorite first pick monsters from the last season.
Yeah, I think, on the ladder, we didn't see that these players picking or favoring Oliver as much. But I think in a tournament setting, when you're fighting players that have such high rune quality, that little bit extra higher speed lead makes all the difference. So not surprised to Diligent first picking Oliver here. What I'm a bit more surprised to see is Tars pre-banning a Deva Raja.
Yeah, that was a little surprising to me too. I didn't know if that was some sort of like secret tech for this matchup, or if maybe he's just saying, yeah, bring whatever, as long as it's not a big damage source for me or something like that. Jogun making an appearance. We talked about this guy on stream today, Topa.
Yeah, we did. Jogun, there was a comment in chat saying that Jogun was, the Jogun meta. And, at this top level, I think he's definitely performing a lot or better than like even lower end of G3, because it requires such high rune quality. But these players do have that rune quality to make it work. And, Tars coming with a full LD draft here.
And with some real interesting picks, including the Dark Yuji, or the Dark Exorcist Association Fighter, if I remember his original name correctly. He's recently got some changes that have maybe made him more favorable for Tars. So what do you think of what Tars has brought to the table here, man?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting this. That is a lot of LDs coming out of Tars, and yeah, the Jack is a pretty nice monster there, but I think I don't think there's enough speed on the side of Tars, though. Only picking the 1 speed in the volume does get it through, but I believe Diligent will still be taking turn 1 here, and will probably be able to just take control of this match right off the bat.
Yeah, look at that speed. Jogun ready and waiting to put the Wool Young in the bag, as it would be if it were, it's like Irene's been putting people in bags all season.
What? And why is Tars not using the Tianlang skill to here? That is very surprising. Also, does miss that buffer move on the Laura there. Also, maybe a slightly questionable bag, as you said, or scroll on turn 1 there. Because now when the volume comes out of the scroll, she's going to be full attack bar and be able to be ready to get a heal off right away.
Yeah, she'll be able to do a little something. We'll see if it's enough to turn the tables here, especially with Oliver procking like that. Oh my god, Zoe, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome, everybody, to the Legend Tournament for Season 33. Welcome, folks in chat. Thank you for that.
Yeah, fair enough. It won't make a difference here. There's just too much damage on the side of Diligent, and Tars' team is going to be mostly in the ground before this volume can now come back and maybe do a little bit. But I think it's too little too late here, Evan.
Yeah, she takes down 1, but how much of an advantage can this Wool Young keep here for Tars? Let's find out if she's able to do that again before the end of this. I doubt it, to be honest. This is why Tars is probably thankful for a best of 5, but maybe I'm calling it a little bit early, especially with Oliver feeding into the Tianlang here.
Yeah, again, a very surprising draft coming out of Tars here. Maybe he wasn't expecting to be in the tournament tonight either, and it's just, having a little happy show first match here against Diligent, and we'll see if he picks maybe a bit more serious, because this draft did seem a bit suspicious to me here.
Yeah, a little bit. As fun as an LD5 draft is, it's also not particularly meta. Some of the best units of the season, outside of things like outstanding Giannas, etc., are mostly just standard elements, right, Sofa?
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely make a full LD draft work, but yeah, I think you do need to complement those units with some RGB units as well to make them really shine.
Yeah, big time. It's like when you're looking at play rates, etc., win rates, like some of the best monsters out there are water, wind, fire. So we'll see what he brings in the next one, though. I really would love to see something like that pop off for Tars, because, I mean, that's a full content draft as far as I'm concerned. It's pretty exciting. We got one win in favor of Diligent here. Let's see if he can carry the advantage on and get a 3-0.
Yeah, as you mentioned, these are best of fives, so there is still a lot of room for Tars to make a comeback here, and Diligent, can let up this aggression. But we'll see what the pre-bans come out, because once again, like that pre-ban even coming out from Tars feels a bit questionable.
Yeah, Devaraja, not exactly a high priority pre-ban. The Tion playing on both sides. Dude, Topa, I'm having flashbacks to 2018 where Molong was double pre-banned. Like I swear I've seen this before.
Yeah, the color has shifted a little bit to a bit more paler here, but now we see Tars first picking a Vanessa, so not going full LD this time at least.
Yeah, he's taking it a little serious. He's taking the weights off here. Diligent picking the sisters together, Ciara and Gianna, so that way he can detonate the bombs they both put on, but the Dark Yuji is a mainstay for Tars, apparently.
Yeah, I do really like this unit, since that buff, getting that self-attack buff, it can definitely do a lot of damage, and it can get permanent skill 3 off, which means permanent endure and, permanent attack buff. So technically, if the opponent doesn't bring any sort of CC or buff remover, you can never kill this unit. But obviously, at this level, you're going to be bringing these Giannas and, CRs, even the bombs that are going to be stunning. So, Yuji might not be able to do as much when Diligent is bringing this much speed to the table.
This is also a cute little combo that Tars is presenting here with the Shizuka, who's got more than enough buffs to take advantage of with that skill 3. Like, she can put Endure on everyone, put Invincibility from Shiho, and I haven't even mentioned the bombs that she could throw out there.
Yeah, I do like the Shizuka pick here. The one weakness of Shizuka, or main weakness of Shizuka, is that her skill 3 has a long cooldown, and you cannot use that skill 2 on yourself anymore to lower the cooldown. But Diligence not bringing any sort of resetters, so that Shizuka, if he gets that one violent proc out of the CC, out of the stun, she is going to be turning the tide of the battle here for sure.
Okay, the bans are out. Vanessa's gone. Yeonhong is gone. So Tars wants to deny any sustain options here. So Diligent's only option is to get some early kills. Just prioritize that. Now, unfortunately, the Shizuka can bring back, like you mentioned, the Dark Yuji to do something kind of resembling like a late game snipe. So let's see what happens here. Turn 1 in favor of Diligent. No game point yet.
Yeah, no surprise there that Diligent taking turn 1. He really has to, make this turn 1 count here, because as you mentioned, there are no heals on his side, and if he misses a couple of things, but so far he's landed everything, so it's looking good for him. But and there goes that Shizuka, so he is in full control of this game here.
Great prioritization, because that was kind of the way the game could spiral out of control for him. There's not even a need to detonate those things, to be honest. You can just kind of let him take a natural turn if you're so inclined. Look at that. Diligent making it look easy at the Legend Tournament, getting a second win right out the gate there. That was pretty fast.
Yeah, that was extremely fast. I don't think Tars took a single turn there, so Diligent just definitely not letting his foot off the gas, and what a dominant performance that we'll see if he can keep it up in round 3. But Tars now, he adapted a little bit, not going for the full LD, but still, only picking one speed lead. It got banned there, and then we saw how the rest of the match played out there.
Yeah, it's practically yielding that first turn, right? So we'll see if this continues in favor of Diligent, or if Tars will end up putting another fight again. Tars has actually got a lot of history at the Legend Tournament. He's also got an SWC win under his belt, so, Diligent making it look easy. That's a high praise to Diligent.
Absolutely. Same goes for Diligent, right? He does have an SWC win. He does have previous Legend Tournament wins, so these are some two stacked players here, historically speaking, at least. And Now Tars pre-banning the Yan Hong, and maybe, you know, now going for a little bit more speed here.
Yeah, let's see if Tars gets his head in the game. Maybe he wants to do. He's changing it up every time. I'll give him that.
Yeah, Diligent is also doing the same. Diligent now drafting Silver and the Light Gojo for double speed leads there, but Tars also now picking up the double speed lead and another fast unit, so might have a chance here.
Yeah, and folks in chat, by the way, for I'd love to hear who y'all are rooting for. Drop it in chat. Who do you think is going to be this season's legend? Who do you want to be this season's legend? Would love to see who you're rooting for. Diligent, last 2 picks here, brings a Gianna and is kind of acting a little hesitant about this 5th pick slot. He's having to dig deeper into the box maybe and goes for a Woonsa.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that I think this last pick needs to be some high base speed speed contest unit here. And, you know, I mean, we were kind of dogging on Tars game 1 draft being full LD, but Diligent's full LD draft is looking pretty good. Although, once again, or similarly to Tars, I think it is susceptible to being outsped here and just controlled by Tars.
Yeah, and now it's completely shifted, like you said. You know, we got the LD only and the RGB on the other side. This time, the bans have to, exactly, they have to be on the starters, right? For a game at this level?
For sure. You know, Diligent does have the higher speed leader into 33, but he is 15 base speed behind this Water Monkey here. So no surprise that the Water Monkey takes turn 1. And if he gets this done, he does. The Jogun should follow up, which it does.
Puts it in the bag. Just like Irene. Here comes, does he get the full team strip? We got 1 res on Gianna, of all things. Can he clean this up? Oh, of course he does. Yeah, that's a pretty easy snipe for the Fire Megami. He procs into getting nothing on the Zeratul.
Oh, no, and absolutely nothing on the Zeratul, and that might be the game right there, Evan. You know, that is tough one to come back from.
Dude, oh my goodness, that hurts. All that setup, all for what, man? Ciara just to miss the bomb. That's a tale as old as time to me.
Yeah, that's just brutal to see, you know. Now Tars did like everything in his power to take that turn 1, but then sometimes when you do that, you just don't have enough impact on that turn 1, right? We saw that here, you know, he was able to get that stun, he was able to get the AoE strip. I mean, obviously was very unlucky to miss that bomb there. But even if the bomb lands and he takes out the Zeratul here, Diligent still had, you know, the immunity coming up, and this Gianna, which is now stunned again, so maybe he can keep this Gianna down, and would have been fine if that bomb landed by last, I guess. We won't know.
Yeah, we'll see if he gets another opportunity to do this. Actually, Shiho getting a turn here is exactly what he needed, but the res, the stun. See, this is where it gets a little more complicated, because Zeratul, 1 proc means that he's never going to land that bomb again, basically.
Yeah, Shiho, you know, definitely doing a great job here. Well, besides missing that stun there on skill 3, but makes up with that massive skill 2, getting the full team stun. And, you know, Tars is still looking pretty good, even though... And then there's the violent proc from Diligent, once again getting up the immunity. And this match is so back and forth here, Evan.
It is. Every time that I think Tars has a chance to kind of sneak in there and make something impactful happen, Diligent is already got immunity up. You know, it's like now all of a sudden there's a bunch of awkward turns. Jogun's going to try to strip it. It's all on Shiho, but if there's one thing I believe in, it's a Shiho comeback.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you know, this was, yeah, as you mentioned, it's like every time Tars gets a little bit of a chance, Diligent gets a little bit of RNG on his side, whether it's a resist or a violent proc, and it just seems to put Tars back in the hole. But looks like Tars will actually edge out a victory here.
It does, unless he's got that 1 turn of invincibility. Can he actually do anything with it?
That steal was huge there, but it's not enough. Oh my god, and another violent proc to seal the deal.
Just skill 1 this thing, right? You just skill 1 at this point. Oh yeah, Dave.
It doesn't matter.
There you go.
Yeah, anything is going to kill it. Aside from skill 2, you just don't want to be using that skill 2 as it does no damage.
Yeah, you just don't want to grant immunity. You just don't want to give yourself immunity.
Yeah.
3-0. Well done, Diligent. That last game was kind of back and forth, man. Like the RNG was definitely going both ways on that game. But Diligent definitely got that the last laugh when it came to that. Well done.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad we got at least one, extremely close game there because it was looking pretty dominant from Diligent. But I would say, Tars definitely got unlucky in that last game. And if they were to play that game multiple times, I do believe that Tars does win that most of the time. But either way, not this time. And Diligent does take the 3-0 victory, and he will be moving on to the finals.
Well said, though, man. I like that idea. It's like if we played that match one more time, I think it would have definitely played out a little bit differently, because Tars had a great opener for sure. All right, everybody. So we will be right back with the next semifinals game to find out who reaches up and fights Diligent in the finals. We'll be right back in 5 minutes. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the RTA Season 33 Legend Tournament, where we just found Diligent to be our first finalist, where he took a dominating 3-0 against Tars. Topa, what were your thoughts on that first set we saw?
And the first couple games of that set were a bit questionable to me. I know some folks in chat were saying too that it kind of seemed like Tars wasn't trying his hardest, to say the least. But then that third game, I think he definitely turned it around and just got unlucky there, unfortunately, to lose 3-0 to Diligent here. But while it may have looked a bit weak, or performance from Tars looked a bit subpar, we can't take anything away from Diligent. Great drafting by him, and definitely a deserved finally spot from him.
100%, man. And you made a really good point in between on the break as well. Tars was actually kind of a last-minute addition because of Kellyanne Bao having to bow out at the last second there for personal reasons. So, who's to say he might have not been as prepared as other players, but he still put up a good fight, especially in that third game. Like you said, he kind of found his footing there, put up a nice go up against Diligent. And he really, it came down to the wire. I thought his Shiho was going to be able to take it, but ultimately, man, Diligent's a hard opponent to go through like that. And also, the RNG was kind of favoring both sides that game. It was just alternating between the players, and at the end, Diligent had the last proc, but he also had the two games where he got those points. He earned the points fair and square ahead of time, so he had the burden of points behind him for that one. So well played by Diligent. We still have one more coming up, Topa, and I think it's probably everybody's most looked forward to semifinals match.
Yeah, definitely. Obabo is coming up, and I did a little bit of scouting in between during that break too on Pooh. Obviously, we know that Obabo was streaming his matches up until the very end here, and we're getting right in the game. But what I was going to say, that Pooh has also been first picking Vanessa. So these two players have been sharing that, first pick Vanessa. And that's, to me, when things get extremely interesting, is, see that dynamic between, that contested first pick and how the players interacted. Do they decide to pre-ban it? Or do they, how do they then adapt when that comfort, the first pick, is taken away? So we'll probably see Obabo take that Vanessa first, and then we can see Pooh's response.
Man, you said it. I love the espionage, by the way, Topa. I'm so glad that you did a little digging to find out what these players are doing. But you said it. I think the art of the pivot is probably the biggest indicator for experience in Summoner's War, and it's really where you start to see players sweat and come up with creative solutions to complex problems. So let's see what Pooh does. I think this Vanessa first pick, it may have thrown him for a little bit of a loop. He pivots over to Oliver and Shiho, two mainstays of the season.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see that. Since Vanessa is gone, you want to pick up the other 33 speed lead. Well, main 33 speed lead. Obviously, there are a couple other options, but those are less utilized. And then, that Shiho. He did also pre-ban that Sonya. And wow, Obabo going back to his Efna. I wonder, if he actually took the rune set off of Sonya and put her on Efna for this.
Oh, that's an interesting thought. And maybe the Hagang could be foreshadowing a Wind Twin Angels pick. I mean, we've been talking up and down about the utility of the Wind Twin Angels combined with Hagang, providing a consistent source of buffs, so you just keep getting procs of his passive when they get removed incidentally.
Yeah, but Pooh has the response to this F9. As weak as Ragdoll has kind of become in current meta, I mean, Ragdoll is still a phenomenal unit against that F9 there, as well as, Obabo might have taken the Hagang preemptively to protect himself against a Fire Megumi, which is another unit that kind of pushed F9 out of meta. But, you had that great call there as well. There's the Wind Twins being picked up by Obabo. Great pick.
Thank you, man. Let's see where he goes with this. He's picking a lot of critting monsters, so he might need to ban out the Ragdoll, which gives Pooh a big opportunity here to pick something even more devastating to Obabo. Now, off the top of my head, I don't know what that would be, but if he is really confident in that Ragdoll soaking up the ban, he might get a free pick here.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe a Juno could be okay. Juno, and you're looking to ban that Hagang if you're Pooh's side, but we'll see what he picks here. Just go with a fire unit, but a bit more of a crowd controlling one that, fits those first couple picks of the Oliver and the Monkey, but we'll see what they decide to ban out here. I don't know, is that Ragdoll still a ban? It might have to be the ban.
I think you made a good call with that. I mean, it is a big hindrance to him, and the Zeratul soaks it up, the big damage source. So now Obabo is at element disadvantage for half the team here with his main source of damage. Let's see how this plays out in game here. We're going into match 1 of this set between Obabo and Pooh. Let's see how this goes.
Yeah, and that is most likely looking like the Sonya set on this Efna, because that outspeeds the Shiho, which is probably extremely fast as well. Opts to not go for the Shiho in favor of getting that immunity on itself that then gives it the protection that the Heigang passive gives. So I like that play by Obabo.
Oh, and I'm actually a little surprised that he went for the skill 3 there, knowing that Heigang is going to be here to strip it, even if the Twin Angels missed. There wasn't a whole lot of value to be had. It looked like there's a chance it could have been an auto pick. Well, the only thing is it went off element, so it probably wasn't auto.
Yeah, and then Pooh getting a huge violent proc there on the Okeanos, and you know, with that recent buff, getting that reset on the Efna. Efna is still basically the only damage dealer on Obabo's side, so if Pooh can control this Efna, which now this Oliver is probably going to do a pretty good job at, Pooh is definitely sitting quite pretty in this match.
Yeah. Oh, man. The thing is, the draft on Pooh's side seems to me like it could age really well into this game as we transition here into like the mid to late game. We'll see if Obabo can make something impactful happen here, namely taking out one of these fire units ASAP.
Yeah, it needs his Hagen to do something, but it does absolutely nothing. Doesn't get glancing on either one of the fire units, and that is going to be a dead Efna. Now getting revived by the Vanessa, but the Bayek is, you know, ready with that skill 3, and that's probably going to spell the end to this Efna as well as Obabo's chance of winning.
Yeah, this is a tough break for Obabo. Too much fire, too many threats, too many equal ban options in the pick ban phase, right? Like the Ragdoll was clearly a threat, but when there's so many wind units on your team, you'd really rather take out a fire pick.
Yeah, just, you know, this kind of just goes to show that, like, as dominant as Efna can be, you know, when it's drafted that early in the draft, against someone as experienced, as, you know, capable as Pooh here, he's definitely able to pick up on that, on the weakness of Efna, which he does have weakness, you know, mainly that Ragdoll is a huge one of them. Obabo having to ban that out, and then, you know, he's still left with these couple fire units here that he still doesn't have a great answer against, so...
Yeah, very well executed by Pooh. Although I will say, you know, you don't quit yet, right? We say that all the time. If it's the Legend tournament, you don't quit. Just kind of let it play through. Think through your next draft in the meantime, but try to win with the units you got. You know, so you never know. Play it out a few more turns. Unfortunately, losing one more unit is enough to say the writing is on the wall there. So that's going to be 1 in the favor of Pooh. So Toba, what does Obabo need to do to pull it together in the next round?
I would have liked to see him go with that Zeratul maybe a bit earlier there instead of that Efna, you know. As mentioned during the match, like Efna can be extremely strong, but it's also somewhat counterable. And, you know, Pooh did a great job of exploiting that. And then, you know, once that Efna was taken care of, there really just wasn't enough in Obabo's draft. So maybe picking something a bit more neutral, you know, neutral element like the Zeratul, or even like a Han or the Jack that Obabo has as well, you know, would be maybe perform a little bit better.
I think that's super apt, to be honest. I mean, you said it, element neutrality is oftentimes so important in the beginning, right? Because it's like, it's too easy to play around. I mean, he drafted fire units to counter it, Ragdoll to counter it. Let's see if Obabo can pick up on this potential weakness of the team and leverage it up against Pooh here. It is by no means over in a best of 3. Pooh's not even at match point yet. Let's see how these players decide to mix things up, and if Vanessa will appear in the pre-ban phase.
Yeah, they're really taking their time thinking about this pre-ban here. And does Pooh even have a Tianlang? I need to do a real quick check. Oh, he does have a Tianlang. All right. I thought for a second there, I haven't really seen Pooh.
I love the espionage, bro.
So, yeah, but, you know, Obabo banning that Tianlang, and Pooh, you know, definitely respecting that Zeratul, puts it in the pre-ban. And we'll see if he steals that Vanessa away from Obabo now.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw her appear in that first pick. Let's see, he's opting for the Water Monkey King instead. Man, that really shows you how powerful this monster's become.
Yeah, it really has. You know, Shiho feels like one of those developer favorite units. You know, you see it appear in almost like every other balance patch. And maybe now he's finally reached his final form, because he's seen a lot of play. That is definitely one meta-defining monster, if you ask me, this season.
Big time. Now, it would be doubling up on elements a little early, but is that enough to take the Hey Gang with him? Maybe not. He's going for his core here, featuring Oliver and Okeanos.
Yeah, that is definitely one of the holy trinities, I would say, this season is, the Oliver, Water Monkey, and Okeanos. You have that, trifecta of elements, and you got the speed lead, you have the base speed, high fast unit, as well as a nice amount of crowd control. Obabo is still favoring that F now of his.
It must have the Sonya runes on it. It's got to have something like a powerful set. I will say that I prefer the Etna appearing around here, but, well, I mean, look at this. Pooh is so ready to deal with it. He doesn't even have his ragdoll out, and he's countering. No way. Oh, my goodness. What a pick. What a pick. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Pooh, that's an extremely good choice, actually.
Yeah, that feels phenomenal. I mean, yeah, obviously Obabo's last pick can deal with the Douglas, but if that's, or once that last pick is banned out, I mean, there's nothing really left to deal with this Douglas. So, Obabo maybe once again a slight misstep on the draft, and I think he's favoring this F now a bit too much.
Yeah, it could be too much leaning on it. I mean, really, I think it's just a banning of the last picks potentially. Yeah, that's all it is there. Now we just work with what we got. Let's see if Obabo can pull through up against Pooh's draft here. If he can get an early kill on Shiho or Oliver with the Etna, that would mean a lot for his comp.
Oh, goes for the greedy S2 there and gets rewarded with getting the defense break on the monkey and the full attack bar, and that monkey is gone right away.
That's exactly what you want to see. That is what the ragdoll was punishing before. It was eliminating the option to open with the skill 2, set up defense break, and knock it out. That was really well done.
Wow, and the Oliver also missing the reset on the F-nut there. So, yeah, I would have maybe liked to see on Pooh's side, instead of the Meing, just pick that ragdoll again. Obabo has even a Juno this time that is going to be critting every time. So, I feel like ragdoll would have done a lot here. And it also would have prevented F-nut from using a skill 2 turn 1. But this Meing can also... also seen, Meing since that recent buff. He has been a menace on the ladder and in RTA in general. We'll see what he can do here.
Yeah, he really found his niche as a hybrid bruiser and anti-crowd control unit. I'd love to see that for Meing and Meing owners. That actually might spell death for Etna, soaking up the Vanessa skill 3 here.
Yeah, I definitely do like that play from Obabo still, setting up those defense breaks and, now going to be getting a lot of damage. I don't think it's going to be quite enough to take out the Okeanos, but gets a nice despair stun. But then Okeanos responding right back with Violent Proc, but not getting that many stuns.
Yeah, not too many. And also the fact that Etna's hanging on by 1 HP means that now Pooh has to sink at least one more turn into it with something, which actually is a big thing for Obabo, where one turn sometimes can mean the difference.
Yeah, definitely. But Obabo is looking to be in a good spot here. This Juno is going to be very difficult for Pooh to take out. The Mean can obviously do it, but when Obabo has still the all of 3 of his other units here in the match as well, seems a bit far-fetched.
It does. Yeah, that Juno might be all he needs. That might be the 1-point monster right there. That Juno might be the one to get a point on the board for him. This is really well done. Folks in chat pointing out how powerful that Okeanos has been. How it's been a procking machine. Dude, the Oki's been killing it for Pooh.
Wow, the Vanessa passive is back up. Pooh making a misplay. They're not getting that kill, and okay, where did the Meing go?
Wait, how much attack is on this Etna? Did it shred through his passive? Did it bypass the reduction of damage?
Oh yeah, it definitely did. It got revived by the Vanessa, so it came back with
the
attack buff there. And it had attack buff. And I've noticed that too.
So
once you bypass the Meing's damage reduction passive, he feels so squishy, and we saw that right there. I mean, obviously Obabo has phenomenal rune quality on the F-nut. There's a reason that he has been putting so much priority on that F-nut pick, and well, it showed there. That F-nut definitely turned the tide of the battle there.
Really well done. I was right there with you, dude. I was doubting the Etna, but I loved the way he leveraged it, and he went for the semi-risky skill 2, got rewarded, got that early kill on She-Hulk. He saw that path to victory and remembered that it wasn't on Will. That was another thing too. I did not remember that the monkey was off Will, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, yeah, again, that FNA did work out very well there since Pooh didn't pick up that ragdoll. Once again, I would have liked to see Pooh pick up the ragdoll instead of the meeting in that last match. And, maybe the game plays out differently, but I guess we will never know. And we're back to the same pre-bans as in round one. Pooh, I guess he is definitely not listening to our cast, or he just doesn't believe it, because he is still pre-banning that Sonia, which is probably unruined currently.
Yeah, he's probably not listening in. These players are. This is a very fun set to watch, I have to say. Like, these guys are really, really even right here. They're doing a great job. Oh, Pooh actually steals the Wind Twin Angels. This is exactly what you were talking about, Topa, where people start stealing units so they have to dig deeper.
Yeah, now we see the adaptability here coming out, and once again, the FNA, the FNA is a great pick into the water monkey that Pooh has been favoring so much, because Pooh, even if he picks a speed lead here, he knows that he doesn't outspeed this FNA. He would have to ban the Vanessa, but now we see the return of the ragdoll that is probably going to have to be banned by Obabo, but that Irene is a phenomenal pick into it.
That's perfect. It's almost like a second ban. That Irene third skill, where you can just put something in the bag and put it away. That's what we were jokingly calling Jogun's skill 2 earlier in the stream. So he doesn't even have to do it. And a Doman. Oh, what?
Oh, I love these picks from Obabo. This is looking really good. But I do wonder... No, there's... maybe if a water twin. If a Pooh picks a water twin here and bans out the Vanessa, I think he can... No, never mind. If it just gets banned out, then Defna will still go first. So, yeah, Obabo's draft is looking to be in a pretty solid position here. I definitely like this position.
Yeah, and it looks like he's going to have a little bit of room to breathe in the beginning, too, I would think. Let's see if Etna takes the ban here. No, so the Doman. So he does not want to fight the Doman, which I don't blame him at all. And Ragdoll, of course, takes the ban.
Yeah, but this seems really good for Obabo now. I don't... As scary as the Dooman is there, but Efna going for the skill 2 and doesn't get enough crits on the bike this time, so the monkey actually cuts in, but I don't think it'll make a difference since he's still got defense broken and Efna can't remove those buffs.
Yeah, let's see if it strips through. He's thinking about it. You gotta go for it. Oh, a little bit too late on the steals, but still worth it thanks to that stun at the end.
Well, the stun is going to be cleansed by this Bayek, so if he doesn't get this monkey out, this is big trouble for Obabo here.
It's a really good
point. Can Juno do it? Does she do it?
Can she do it? Do it! Go! Go! Oh,
he was praying at that moment, but... Yeah, so close, but not enough. And, I mean, how do you come back from this? As Obabo, you kind of used everything, and it wasn't enough, so... I think this is just a GG go next angle.
Yeah, you might be right. I think, yeah, look at that. And now Irene needs to proc to do anything. Oh dear. Yeah, this is looking a little bit rough. I guess you stay in as long as Juno is alive, to be honest, but I'm with you, man. This is a tough mountain to climb if you're Obabo.
Yeah, well, even with the Juno, it's a bit hopeless into this meeting here. You don't have your Efna to one-shot this meeting this time. And Juno, if it stuns the meeting, the passive's going to pop right up and just cleanse it, pick it back up. So, I mean, there is no chance here for Obabo, but he's still not out of it. Once again, we are playing best of 5, so he does have a chance for a comeback.
Well said. The only difference now is that Pooh is officially at match point. He gets one more win. He's going to move forward to meet Diligent in the finals. So Obabo's got to turn it on right now. It's time to lock in. Obabo's got to lock in.
Yeah, if Obabo does take this next game and we do go to a game 5, if he wants to play that similar style draft with the Vanessa and the Efna, I would like to see him pre-ban that Ragdoll, right? I mean, that Ragdoll has made it out, not even as a last pick from Pooh, and Obabo has still had to ban it both times in round 1 and 3, and still lost both of those times. So that Ragdoll has really been a thorn in his side. But before we get there, Obabo does need to take this game 4. That draft might be a little bit different here.
Yeah, I think your analysis is spot on, Topa. Like, really well said. I think the Ragdoll needs to appear here. It is hindering him greatly as long as he's leaning on the Etna. So I think getting that out would be really important for him. Let's see if he decides that it's the same way. No, he opts to pre-ban the Mi Ying. I mean, the Mi Ying has taken a lot of kills, so I get why, but yeah, the Ragdoll is hindering the Etna.
Yeah, and Pooh, realizing that he does have his Gianna available here, so just pre-banning out the Hey gang, so we probably going to be see Pooh pick up a Gianna at some point in this draft, and now does go for the steal on the Vanessa.
Oh, and Obabo's got the backup speed lead with the Fire Exorcist Association Conjurer, formerly known as Tetsuo.
Yeah, as well as taking the monkey now, so Obabo also just taking the monkey away, so we might not be seeing an Efna from Obabo's side this time. Maybe Pooh now taking an Ashir, still wants some sort of a speed threat, and that Gianna is coming out to play.
Yeah, Pooh's he is going way faster this time. He really wants turn one.
Yeah, Obabo could still be picking up the Efna. One of the bigger counters to Efna is actually the Hey Gang as well. But, Pooh still does have 2 more picks, and there is already 1 fire unit on the board. So the Efna does come out, but will, Pooh find the appropriate counters to it?
Yeah, this is, you highlighted something really important there, is that, like, that Hey Gang being a counter for Etna, but I think, Pooh put that down there so that way he could freely pick the Gianna. I don't know if he realizes that this is a big opportunity for Obabo.
Oh my goodness, those LD picks are pretty backbreaking against Obabo's draft, though. Pooh, yeah, he does have the and find the answers to this comp. And I mean, I think Ragdoll just has to be bad again. So we'll see what Obabo can last pick to maybe make a difference in this battle.
Yeah, either that or like ban Gianna and pick a Tessarion or something. I don't know. I don't know, dude. Yeah, the Raccooni's a cute thing. Oh, Veramos. Yeah, cleanse the bombs, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, that I really like that pick. That is a phenomenal last pick. I think. Well, do you outspeed this year? That's a big question here, because you actually do have a lower speed lead here. You could ban out the Ragdoll here. That takes out, a lot of the direct damage from Pooh's side. And then if the Veramos is let through, it's going to cleanse all the bombs, and there's not much damage left. So, Pooh knowing that bans out the Veramos. But now it does have the 33 Ashir against a 28 Efna. Who takes turn 1 here? And it is the Efna.
Let's see. Oh, the Etna's just narrowly squeezes by. Oh, he's going for the skill too. He gets enough crits. He gets enough crits, Topa.
Yeah, I think he had to go for that. Although that is actually not a very tanky Ashir, so maybe he didn't need to get that defense break. But also something to notice here is that Zenisek actually moves in front of the Gianna, which makes so that Obabo cannot stun that Gianna with his monkey here. Otherwise, it would just get cleansed up and get some attack bar from that Zenisek passive. So Obabo noticed that as well and wisely opts to go for the Ashir kill instead.
Oh, well said, dude. That was a really good observation. Yeah, Zenisek's got one of those really pesky passives. It's got a couple different clauses on it that can kind of go forgotten if you're not careful.
Yeah, and Obabo had that great turn 1 there, but I think the draft is still falling a bit short here. Pooh getting that heal and speed buff up from the Ashir, now a bit stabilized, and Obabo sitting with 2 bombs on his head here, so it's not looking great for him.
It's not looking spectacular. He doesn't. There's not a super clean way to get rid of a Juno, so I'm hoping that maybe if he can get rid of the Ashir quickly, he might be able to kind of get ahead again with the Juno, but we'll have to see. It's a tall order to ask it to solo. Here's an opportunity, though. Shiho resisting the bomb and not dying, too. He can kind of stick around, try to get that invincibility back up. Never mind.
Yeah, no, there's no way, I mean, yeah, while you do want to, target the Ashir here first, apparently, I guess there's a debuff on the S1 on Vanessa, because it's on Despair, but, Zenisek heals on skill 1, Gianna has no debuffs on skill 1, there's just no debuffs, Juno can't do anything here, she's pretty handcuffed, and, ultimately what it came down to is just, Obabo's over-reliance on the Efna, and not pre-banning the Ragdoll. That's, I feel like, all of this came down to. All 3 games that Obabo lost, there was a Ragdoll in the draft. The Ragdoll was banned out, but still there was too much left for Obabo to deal with. And unfortunately for Obabo and, probably many, little bit myself and many viewers in chat, Obabo has now been eliminated and Pooh is moving on to finals.
Oh, well played from Pooh. Well, really well played from Pooh. I'm so sorry to Obabo. I really agree with your analysis, by the way, Topa. I think that there's a lot of insight to be had there too. I think the ragdoll might have been a bigger priority. We've got a code for you guys here. After the semifinals conclusions, we got LT. Who's next? 33, and that'll get you 5 mystical scrolls as well as some mana to summon it as well. So make sure to redeem that. Hope you get something cool from it. We have a stellar finals to look forward to here between Diligent and Pooh coming up. Again, whole tournament has been completely composed of previous legends. So this is still popping. Exciting to see another best of 5 here in a second, Topa.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah,
All right,
super
everybody.
excited for that. Make sure to get that
It's gonna
code
be
in,
great.
and we'll see you after a short break.
See you soon, everybody. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the RTA Season 33 Legend Tournament. And Topa, I can hardly believe it, but we're at the finals.
We are. We have lost two great players along the way, but we still have two great players. We need to knock one of them out to crown our Season 33 legend.
Dang, Skippy, we do. We got one more best of 5 between us and the end of the road to legend here. We got Pooh versus Diligent coming up. Here are the highlights from the match we just watched between Pooh and Obabo. Pooh successfully knocked out the People's Champion. Unfortunately, a lot of folks in chat were rooting for Obabo. It was his first time appearing here in years. I think you mentioned 3.5 being the exact number, and unfortunately his tournament run ended in the semifinals.
Yeah, Pooh drafted extremely well into Obabo and just leverages LDs to perfection, really, and really countered Obabo's not so LD heavy drafts here very well, and ultimately did take that win and is moving the finals to fight Diligent.
And he also leveraged a lot of the weaknesses in Obabo's draft, like you had mentioned too. It's like strengthening his team up against that Etna, etc. Like he did a really solid job. Man, and this last team just seemed complicated to play against too. Zenisek's passive really was a thorn in Obabo's side the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, this last game, it really seemed like Pooh almost had like 3 force bans. That Ragdoll got banned, but you kind of depend on Zenisek too, because those stuns and the Gianna, the Hagen was put in the pre-ban, so there wasn't really a real answer against that Gianna at all. So maybe that, do know a little bit, but I mean, ultimately it just doesn't do enough. And Pooh drafted extremely well, and excited to see what he does here in the finals against Diligent, who put on a dominant performance in the semifinals.
Yeah, it might, it's not that long ago that Diligent got a 3-0 in our first semifinals game here. And that brings us to this, the finals, Diligent versus Pooh. Now, is Pooh going to be able to take that same draft knowledge, that same game sense that put that pressure on Obabo and put it on Diligent? Let's see if he's able to do it in the finals here. We've got a best of 5 to really let these players warm up and get to know each other here. This is the first time they've played each other in the entire bracket today, and by the end of it, we're going to have our legend for the season, Topa.
Yeah, that we will, but it is not the first time that they're playing in a competitive setting. Pooh played Diligent and beat Diligent in the Asia Pacific Cup last year in SWC 2024, so they are no strangers, and both have obviously been previous legends. So again, they are very experienced at this high level of play, and once again, super excited to see what they bring out to the table today.
Me too. Let's see if they can put the pressure on each other. Yeah, you made a really good point. They have a lot of experience playing against each other in a tournament setting. And now tonight, they're going to put it all to use. Here we go, guys. The finals, set number 1 in the best of 5. Let's see what ends up in the pre-ban phase here. One of these players is going to be our champion, Topa.
Yeah, that is the case, and the players are really taking their time, or at least one of them is really taking their time in this pre-ban, considering all options, and we end up seeing the Shiho in the pre-ban as well as the Gojo, like Gojo.
Whoa, they did their homework. Is that a bite? Love that as a post-game bonus fight up against me, the real hidden champion. That's hilarious. There's a 33 lead to start off Pooh's draft there, Topa.
Yeah, Pooh may be doing that little bit of homework on Diligent, seeing, that first game and how Diligent prioritized that Oliver, that 33 speed lead that now has the higher speed lead compared to the Diligent's 24 here. So Diligent also probably anticipating that or something of the sort happening, and therefore banning what is one of Pooh's fastest monsters in that Shiho. And we'll see what Pooh now decides to then follow up his Oliver here. What else does he have for speed?
Yeah, and what takes the place of the Shiho in this lineup when it's in the pre-ban phase for Pooh? Is it, he's bringing the Zenisek. Oh, what a cool idea up against the Gianna. That's a really nice touch.
Yeah, that is definitely one way to counter Gianna. We usually have like Hey Gangs and Josephines into Giannas, but I mean, I guess if you have a premium LD like that, may as well make use of it and pick it here, and yeah, it's a good already reactionary pick here, as you mentioned, like what does he take with Oliver Okeanos here? That's, probably two-thirds of the whole Trinity, as I was saying earlier. And now we also see the Hey Gang really countering this Gianna.
Yeah, now Gianna's completely a non-issue for Pooh, so he's free to ban out whatever he feels incentivized towards. Now, he just needs some sort of damage. I was not expecting it to be a Rakan. I'm still low-key not expecting it. It's a Rakan.
But it is a Rakan. Yeah, we actually saw Pooh in... I think it was a couple Legend tournaments ago. Pooh actually busted out Rakan a couple Legend tournaments ago as well. I believe it was a Leo counter Rakan back then, however. But this might be, you know, fully fledged Giga Chad Rakan that's coming out to play here.
Crazy.
And Diligent is seemingly clueless on what to do, really taking his time on this last pick.
I would be too, to be fair, man. And what you mentioned is the usual context I'm used to seeing a Rakan in. I was running a 0-speed Rakan for a long time as a Leo counter, and that is, you know, but no Leo in sight at the Legend tournament. That's new in my book. Here we go, guys. We got some real content in the finals.
Yeah, I am all for it, though, and weird to see the Hey Gang ban here from Diligent side, banning out Hey Gang. You know, there's still the Zenisec that basically does the same thing as Hey Gang against this Gianna, just full-on counters it, and even more so, because there actually isn't that many buffs on the side of Pooh. The only unit that does have buffs is this Rakan here. So I actually wouldn't have been hated if he banned out this Rakan. But Pooh then also banning out the Zerath, you know, who does ban out the other Chimera here. And Diligent taking turn 1, but again, the stun doesn't actually do anything because Zenisec will cleanse them up and even give them bar.
Yeah, exactly. Showing the power of the Zenisec passive. It also makes him immune to attack power reduction effects as well. Oh, dude, here we go. Rakan gets the turn. This is what we wanted. Rakan did not really pop off, but he dealt some good damage.
Yeah, that Pontos has 200% resistance or even more, because seeing an Okeanos miss a skill 2 after the buff, and that just never happens. You know, both the hits now remove buffs and reset. And the chance to miss that is extremely low, and I mean, Rakan's probably hopeless on landing that. I assume Rakan is probably not built on max accuracy, and you know, I mean, that is just some phenomenal luck on Diligent side, and now being able to just blast that Zenisec out of here and probably just take the game just like that.
Big time, like you said, and you know, accuracy is not one of his primary stats. It'd be a tertiary stat at best. Diligent's looking real strong here. Great threat assessment, getting rid of that Zenisec so quick too.
Oh, but there actually Rakan does manage to get a strip on the immunity and as well as land the provoke, but that is, I guess, just salt in the wound, you know, too late for that, because I don't see a way back for Pooh here.
Neither do I. I low-key, I hope he doesn't scoop though, because it's like I just kind of want to see Rakan have a chance to counterattack more.
Yeah, a little bit longer, you know. Maybe we'll see. Maybe we get a highlight reel out of this, but you know, it is also a violent Rakan, so it doesn't even have that life leeching capabilities of Vampire that maybe could give it the chance to solo, but now, you know, it's slowly just gonna get killed by these S1s and goodbye.
That was a sad way to watch Rakan go out, dude. It was a fun pick. I'll give it to Pooh. That was awesome. Like, yeah, it was a real cool content pick. So what would you have liked to have seen Pooh do differently in that comp, if anything? I thought he looked pretty decent. Maybe Rakan was the weak link, Topo? What do you think?
I mean, honestly, yeah, I saw the vision with the Rakan. I think the Rakan was a fine pick, and I think you kind of just chalk that loss up to RNG there. Like, once again, like missing 3 chances on that Pontos. Just Oki twice on the skill 2 and Rakan on the skill 3. Just, I mean, you expended all of your buff removers and got nothing out of it. So, like, at that point, what do you do?
What do you do? No, exactly. A great point, because it might look like 2 chances, but it was actually 3 chances now that Okeanos, like you said, now that he does the strip increase cooldown time twice on that skill 2 instead of independent checks on hit 1 and 2. You know, that was a lot of times to get unlucky, or, you know, I guess, or to have resistance work for Diligent, depending on your perspective there. Pre-bans go out. Zeratul makes it down there, and so do the Wind Twin Angels.
Yeah, you know, Pontos likely built on 100 res, but I assume Pooh's Okeanos would be max accuracy, so it doesn't matter. Rakan, once again, probably not max accuracy. But either way, moving on to game 2 here. Now, Pooh needs to stay focused, not get tilted by that RNG there, and lock in here, as we say. And yeah, the pre-bans are out, and Pooh now taking a different style of draft. We haven't seen the Water Gojo at all here today, but it makes an appearance.
No, and we saw a lot of the Water Gojo get picked in the Americas Summit earlier this year too. He's a great option here. He can take the invincibility off the monkey, and also he has that defense scaling damage that just ages really well throughout a game.
Yeah, definitely. I was on the receiving end of some Water Gojo beatings in the summit, as you mentioned. So that is definitely a strong unit that, has definitely falling out of meta a little bit more since now that, like Water Monkey is actually, while it can steal the immunity, Water Monkey can also just stun it permanently. While you can push back the Water Gojo, you can just stun it. So that is a pretty solid counter to it, as well as these bombs. The Gojo is likely built on high defense with that self-defense buff. I don't know how well it's going to fare into defense ignoring bombs here, Evan.
Yeah, me neither. I don't know. I see what he's trying to do. Well, Pooh found one more counter in his repertoire here, Toba. He brought the Jameer out to cleanse the bomb that's left over by Gianna. I think, this is real funny. I see what he's doing here, but I think I'd like a little bit more sustain maybe, or like even something a little bit more basic, like a Veramos or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Gang just gets banned on the last pick there, and Diligent is likely going to be take turn 1 here. And I wonder if he's just going to throw the skill 3 into the Zenisek. Ooh, but is it not a Nemesis, or did he not do enough damage? Because that's exactly what I would have done too, and then hoping that it pops the Nemesis so that it moves in front of your Gianna, and then you can stun the team, because now the Zenisek is going to be cleansing up all the stuns. But actually, it doesn't go first, but Jameer just getting that insane violent proc. Wow.
Immense. Oh my god, immense value out of that proc from Jameer. That's why you ruined that thing on violent. That's insane.
As good as that violent proc was, Diligent is still very much in control here. That CR does outspeed the Okeanos, which is massive, but it doesn't get the stun on the bomb. So Okeanos does get a chance to use skill 3 here to make something happen.
Yeah, Diligent has not lost, but he is getting extremely unlucky, actually, in the course of this game right here. Oh my god, the Oki procs as well. If Pooh loses this game, it is not the fault of Okeanos and Jameer. Like, they're doing everything in their power to make this work.
They definitely are, and Shiho missing the crit there on the Okeanos as well does not secure the kill, so Okeanos is still hanging on for dear life. And yeah, I mean, this started out looking great for Diligent, but Pooh just, I guess in the first game, Diligent got extremely lucky with those resistances, and in this game, Pooh got extremely lucky with, those violent procs. So that's just the way that RTA sometimes goes. But Diligent is not out of this yet.
If you can believe it, it's true. He's not. Shiho actually has what it takes to kind of take this down, to be honest, especially now that like the Okeanos is out of place, so he can't get reset. He just needs to cycle back in time. Unfortunately, stuns aren't going to be easy to keep in play here with Zenisek and his passive, but he can at least stick around and do chip damage.
Yeah, if he can... Ooh, Neftis is still 2 turns away. I was going to say, if he can get another Neftis skill 2 off here, that would be huge. He probably needs the violent proc here next turn to get that off, and might have a chance then. Yes, you mentioned the stuns are not going to be sticking, and now the Gojo stealing the immunity and invincibility, that's probably going to spell into Diligent's game here.
Yeah, I think that might be all he needed to make that happen. We get that. Unfortunately, Stun's going to get cleansed up, stun the monkey, and I think you're right, Topa. This is going to be the routine. We're just going to do this song and dance for a little while until the monkey is deceased.
Yeah, I mean, now getting the refresh here as well, getting the Gojo skill too, and that might even make the monkey deceased. Not quite, but extremely close. And yeah, it's just RNG swings back in Pooh's favor in that match, and he ultimately takes it 1-1. So we have a pretty close and tight final so far here, Evan.
It is. Yeah, we love a fight. I don't want to see a 3-0 here for the Legends. I want to see a nice back and forth, and that seems to be what we're getting. Although, now, with that said, there was a lot of RNG involved in terms of, that win for Pooh there. So, Topa, would you say that he's going to have to pivot away from what he drafted, or what do you think?
Yeah, I would say so. Definitely pick up something different. Diligence is such an overwhelming speed advantage there. Like his whole team almost outsped Pooh's team, which just put him in such an advantageous position. And yeah, Pooh probably needs to pick up some faster units. Maybe, take that monkey away to have, well, it's going the pre-ban once again, so.
Love seeing Shiho this sought after at the Legend tournament. I know that the dev, that whoever buffed him all those times is so happy to see him appear in the pre-ban phase. Like, he is a coveted monster this season, and that's pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I believe those are the same pre-bans from round 1. And I did, somewhat favor Pooh's draft in round 1. So maybe Diligent does need to change up here. And that's exactly what he does, He doesn't want to count on that Pontos resisting 3 things once again. So goes for a silver, which is, a 33 lead to match Pooh's 33 lead. And maybe gives a Diligent and upper hand here on the speed fight.
Oh, I gotta say, I was, he's got to, maybe the speeds matter for this one with the 33 lead. Maybe that's why he shifted the order. But I gotta say, I really like those choices. The Zenisek and the Okeanos have been performing pretty well for Pooh.
Yeah, they definitely have, but especially, with Diligence, high reliance on this Gianna. But he's not really changing his draft from that game of game 1, and neither is Pooh then. Pooh is completely happy running it back. I forget exactly who was in place of Silver in game, or was it Silver in game 1 as well? I don't think so. I forget who was there.
I'm having a hard time remembering too, actually. I can't remember. Maybe Chat knows. Chat might remember who that first one was. I'm forgetting as well. But we're getting a certified run back right here. Let's see if the bans are different. I'd love to see that. Or maybe... Oh, actually, it might have been Ciara.
Yeah, I think I was just going to say that too. I believe it was a Sierra, because I remember commenting on that. Pooh has that 9% speed lead advantage against that Sierra. But yeah, now just taking the Pontos, so it's just changing that 24 lead to 33. Might be enough for Diligent to take this game now. But, I mean, technically, Diligent did win that first game too, so could also just resist everything on this Pontos once again.
Yeah, I couldn't... And even now, with the benefit of hindsight, I'm looking back and I'm kind of wishing the Rakan was on Vampire, just because it's a little sad watching him waste away as he's getting skill 1'd to death.
Yeah, and Pooh definitely seems to be having some sort of PTSD from that Pontos, wants no part of it, and just bans it out. That makes me wonder. Maybe he's not so confident in landing on that Ponto, so maybe this Okeanos is not max accuracy. It is quite difficult to get him to max accuracy since he does not awaken into it, and you kind of do want a lot of stats, non-accuracy stats as well, so that your additional damage does, your additional damage artifacts make him deal a lot of damage.
It's really true. He's a demanding monster. He needs a lot of stats. Okay, here we go. Let's see who's going to get the second point in this game right here. Set number 3 in the finals. Kind of an awkward turn for Zenisek here.
And that is so bad for Zenisek. This is exactly what Diligent was trying to do game 2. Push up that Zenisek in front of his Gianna, so Zenisek has his dead turn, and now all the stunned units are actually going to stay stunned. Well, unless they want to proc out. But, that Zenisek doesn't get any value from its passive now.
Yeah, the bars are in favor of Diligent right now. That was really well observed. Oh, and now the Zeratul can just wreck it over here with an attack buff.
Yeah, interesting to see that the Ming is actually not tuned to Zeratul. would definitely expect that to be the case, but I guess with a Ming Violent proc, it doesn't matter because that is a dead Okeanos and Diligent is in full control of this game.
Yeah, now, it's full. It is Diligent's game to lose now. He is in full control for sure. That's interesting. Yeah, the Zenisek moved it at the wrong time. That was he also was the first one to go. And I remember Pooh reorganizing the Okeanos and the Zenisek. So I don't know. Maybe something happened there.
Yeah, you gotta wonder how tight is that speed tuning, Because ideally, you want Zenisek literally 1 speed faster than the rest of your team so that, you can cleanse them, and this exact scenario doesn't happen. So that might just be like some sheer luck on the side of a Diligent that his Gianna just somehow happens to be that at the exact speed. Or maybe, Pooh is actually just not tuned that tight and that Zenisek is actually too fast for its own good.
Exactly. Yeah, it's hard to say for sure what happened there. But we certainly saw the result. Man, yeah, Diligent taking it again. in the run back too. Like, it's like now we're sure that Diligent wins this matchup, so maybe we put that one to bed. That was a really good showing from Diligent. I like that Pooh tried it again, I gotta say. But yeah, Topa, what do you want to see out of Pooh for this potentially final game in the finals?
I would like to see him fight a bit harder for speed. You know, we saw in that last game that Diligent, all he needed to do from, I guess, the game one that wasn't so favorable of a draft for him was to pick up that 33 speed lead and get that speed advantage back in his favor. So I would like to see Pooh fight a bit harder for that speed and maybe, you know, get that pressure on Diligent.
Yeah, that's a good call. I wonder if now that the Monkey King is back on the table, if maybe he's going to try to go for turn 1 this time instead. Unless Diligent opts to take it from him, which he very well could.
Yeah, we could be seeing that, and we see a win twin again in the pre-ban. You know, we haven't seen as much win twin in the Legend tournament as I expected, to be completely honest. And well, won't be seeing it in this game, which is potentially, once again, the last game. Diligent is here at match point, and now picking up the Oliver. You know, Diligent also realizes the value of turn 1 and does not want to let up.
Yeah, oh, and Pooh quick to answer back with the Jameer and the Okeanos, which worked great for him last time. Granted, it was in a situation where Jameer procced and got him the opportunity to cleanse. But banking on a 22% chance in what is potentially the last game of the Legend tournament, that's kind of a tough call.
Yeah, you know, that is not exactly a winning strategy to bank on a 22%, but I mean, it won him last time, so I mean, you could say maybe since it worked, it'll work again, but or on the other hand, maybe he's not due anymore for that proc. But once again, you know, picking up the Zenisek and the Hagen, 2 very effective counters against Gianna, but I mean, they haven't done all too well, to be completely honest.
No, they haven't, you know, because it's like they truly are great counters for these monsters, but they have not performed that great. Diligent's done a stellar job navigating the Zenisek passive. I mean, it was a masterclass in the last one, right? Interweaving the turn so that Zenisek didn't get the value.
Yeah, definitely. Again, once again, might have been a bit of luck involved on that, but either way, well played by Diligent last game, and now he's going a bit more passive here with a, you know, taking the Miying. Actually, no, I think he's been taking the Miying a couple times as well, but also a Shizuka, you know, getting those bombs, and also there's a lot of other juicy buffs for his team. Invisibility, revenge, very nice.
Well, now hold on a minute, Pooh. Well, he locked it in, so I'm not totally sold on the Rakan after the two times we've seen him. I don't know, Topa. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that, especially when there's, you know, Shiho this time too. I mean, maybe since, you know, you have the Hey Gang, I don't know. I assume the Hey Gang's going to be banned out, but no, Diligent very much respects the Rakan. I guess Diligent said, you know what? I'm fine playing the first 4, right? My draft is good. I know I can beat the first 4. So I'm just going to ban out the wild card in the last pick. And I guess that wild card is very wild in this case of the Rakan, but still just sticks to his guns, and we'll see how it plays out for him.
Let's see, folks. Diligent sitting here at match point at Season 33, Legend Tournament for the RTA ranked season. Let's see if he can walk away with the Legend title up against Pooh.
Yeah, going for that Shiho skill 3 now. You know, Hagen passive activating, giving the Okeanos the turn, and oh man, I thought the Okeanos was going to miss once again, but he does not. And this Mi Ying, you know, he's not entirely tuned here. The Zenisek once again moving in front of the Hey Gang, so he's not able to do a whole lot here. Just heals up the Okeanos a little bit.
Yeah, that was a nice proc to get Oki back up and feeling good. I'm realizing... Oh, and if Jameer can proc out of this like he did before, Pooh might actually be able to stay on board.
Yeah, but Miying gets a violent proc there, and Okeanos is almost off the board there, so...
Yeah.
That is definitely one of the main ways that he would be dealing with this Miying. Now, Miying is going to be an extremely difficult task for Pooh to kill here.
Big time. Yeah, and that's it. You know, I started that sentence before Miying procced, and now it's looking increasingly worse for Pooh. Asking these units to crowd control the entire team for the whole time is practically impossible when you take into account Mi Ying's passive.
Yeah, exactly. Once again, just killing the being on its own is going to be trouble. But there are 3 other units aside the being that he still needs to worry about. And with that Oliver Violent proc too, doing some nice damage on this Jemire. This game is probably over, and I do believe we have just found our Season 33 legend.
Diligent taking it. It seems like it may be ending with a whisper here as Diligent calmly scrapes away at Pooh's last defenses in this best of 5. Here comes Mi Ying to slam dunk it. Slam dunking message. Just in case.
Indeed. Wow.
Just in case they didn't get the message, Mi Ying procs one last time, Topa. That's awesome. Congratulations. Diligent is the champion and our Season 33 legend.
Yeah, very well played. I was super impressed with Pooh's drafts earlier against Obabo, and Diligent just on another level, I guess. Making a pretty easy work of Pooh there. Getting a little bit of RNG in the first game, but then also getting super unlucky in the second game. So I guess that all balanced out, and a 3-1, pretty dominating victory overall for Diligent. Huge congratulations to him.
Yeah, he seemed like he really, at the end of the day, kind of cracked the code on what Pooh was bringing to the table. And to be fair, Pooh was getting a little bit weird there. I really liked seeing the Rakan in the 5th pick slot. That's the first time, I think, in the Legend tournaments that I've casted that I've seen a Rakan outside of a Leo pick. That was a really kind of cool thing to bring to the table. I haven't seen that before. So kudos to Pooh for showing us something fun, and great job to Diligent for navigating it well, not just once, but 3 times in this best of 5. And here are the highlights from that set we just saw, Topa.
Yeah, great place. And kudos to Pooh for the Rakan. We'd love to see something cool and innovative in the Legends tournament. Also bring out Jemire, and the Gojo. Pooh did definitely pick some units that are not utilized as much as maybe they should be. Although I guess Pooh did end up losing here, so maybe those picks weren't the way to go indeed. But yeah, Diligent overall just drafted super well, played super well, and it's definitely a deserving winner here.
Big time. Yeah, and it goes to show just how flexible these players are and how willing they are to kind of think outside the box when they start drafting like this at a Legend tournament. We're seeing very varied drafts compared to like the usual meta here. So it's pretty fun to see, especially in a tournament setting. So that was great. And also, again, speaks to the quality of the players that they can kind of navigate those unexpected picks. I think maybe the run back on the Rakan might have been potentially a mistake because it largely played out similarly to the first time, just sans a Pontos, but really well done. And congratulations to Diligent for another Legend finish.
Yeah. We spoke a little bit about having, changing your playstyle from the ladder to the tournament. And once again, it didn't really work out that well for Pooh. Definitely changing his play a little bit from the ladder. And as we can see right there, the journey we took there, and the Legend Summoner ultimately is Diligent.
Congratulations to him and everyone involved too, and thank you again to Tars for stepping in as well to represent the 4th player from the number 5th category there. And it was really great seeing Obabo back again in his semifinals matchup against Pooh. So yeah, overall great Legend tournament. Really glad to have watched this happen and see Diligent secure another title for himself.
Yep, and before we go, I think we do have a little treat for you guys here, so don't go anywhere just yet.
I think we might. Yeah, so stick around, guys. That was a great show. I really ended up enjoying this one. That was pretty stellar. So looking back then, so you mentioned that Pooh had kind of changed things up from how he was playing on the ladder. You mentioned that he was first picking Vanessa. What else did he have in his draft that was kind of absent here?
Yeah, he was playing a lot of Ashir and then picking the Gianna himself. So I guess Diligent probably picked up on that as well. And, Diligent really prioritized that Gianna. And Pooh, while he did have solid counters against the Gianna, due to that unfortunate speed tuning and Diligent's excellent navigation around them, they just didn't quite work out. Like, he did have the Hey Gang and the Zenisek ready every time, but they just weren't enough to cut the job there.
Oh, but look at this, guys. Here's that second code for you. High 233 champ, although the I is a 1. So make sure to redeem that and get 5 more mystical scrolls.
Yeah, that's awesome. For a total of 10 mystical scrolls. Once again, if you guys missed that code earlier, I'm sure the moderators in chat are more than happy to post it for you guys. And yeah, we thank you guys for joining the show here tonight. I know it is quite late for some of you, and I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I definitely had a lot of fun casting with you, Evan.
Oh, me too, man. It's always a pleasure casting with you, Topa. I'm really glad we could do this together. And again, just to echo what Topa said, chat, thank you so much. It is a crisp 2 a.m. here, so I hope you guys had a fun time watching it as much as we had a fun time casting it. This is a really, really fun show, and we hope you get something cool in those scrolls as well. Personally, I'm kind of hoping for a Fire Exorcist Association Conjurer there, Topa. Is there anything you're hoping for?
Oh, I'm probably hoping for the Wind Twin Angels. Yeah, I gotta make sure to collect those codes, because that is definitely one meta unit that, once again, I mentioned that I was expecting to see a little bit more Wind Twin Angels here today. But yeah, I would definitely like to add it to my arsenal.
I was too, man. I and we saw them drafted under the ideal circumstances too, because we called out the Hey Gang, right? You taught me what a great combo those two are, and it's like, but unfortunately, one or the other kept soaking up the ban. So I thought a little bit more was going to get picked. We didn't even see the fire ones at all.
Did we even see any of the water one?
I don't remember if we did or if it was just in the beginning. So ultimately, the takeaway here, Chad, is that we got a very special Legend tournament where we got to see some picks outside the usual meta, which was very fun. We hope you guys enjoyed it. Let us know what you thought in the comments below, and we'll look forward to seeing you again in future Legend tournaments. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you for watching.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.